Alrighty. So, this is just a little live stream of Lords of the Fallen for fun, because I haven't played much of this game, although it's kind of like an off game of Dark Souls, I guess. I mean, it's really similar to playing Dark Souls. The controls are a little different since it is on PlayStation. They've switched up the controls. I'm actually not sure what company this is from, because I didn't really spend much time looking at it. It just looked like a cool game. It is a Bandai Namco and GI Games. Looks like they have their titles on it. You can be 3 different classes: your mage, your assassin, and your warrior. And then, of course, you have your classes for each one, along with their magic types. Once you select a magic type, it actually switches the character to pre-select what one should be with that. But I'm going to go with the brawler, which is the knight class. Basically selecting that I'm going to go in as this tanky character instead of being low health or defensive in the mage, because the assassin has low health and the mage, as the description says on him, he's more of a defensive kind of offensive character. You know, the best of both worlds. So,
fallen God, creator and destroyer of worlds, hear my vow.
I'm gonna try to not talk through most of these cutscenes, but it may vary from time to time if I do talk or not in cutscenes, so.
Hear my vow. My vow of defiance.
Either way, our quest for Antanas nears a conclusion.
I hope he's worth all the men we've lost on our way here. We made it. Let's get to work. It's quiet. Too quiet, even for a monastery. Hold on. Things keep coming. We fight back, but there are too many of them. It is sickening to see them move. Their limbs twist and turn in ways they're not supposed to. And their smell. It's like fire and death creeping up your nose. One of the creatures we were fighting spat on us. The saliva hit my eye. It burned. And it burns deeper into me. It's locked. You're still losing blood, Captain.
So, later on in the game, you can actually get different weapons, which, earlier when you saw my shield go on my back, I was two-handing my weapon, but there's 3 stages of your triangle on PlayStation controllers that you go from your one-handing shield to doing like two-handed, and then you go into a one-handed sword and a cannon, essentially.
If we find his gods, we'll find him.
Which is actually a pretty cool weapon, but it's unique in that you have a blast, close quarters, you have a projectile, and you have an explosion that you can do with it, and each one kind of has its own unique range that you can shoot off. Like the projectile has longer range than the blast that comes out, and if you do use the blast, it's a close quarters kind of swipe that you do, which actually works pretty well for taking close enemies out, but farther away you need, you know, your long range projectile. The explosion I don't really mess with that much, and I forgot this dude was here. Ooh. So when you kill enemies in this game, you actually wind up getting XP, but XP doesn't work the same way in this game as it does in others. This one you can use to save it, or you can turn it into level up points for your character to be able to spend and actually get better damage output and stuff like that for later on when you're actually fighting tougher enemies.
It is in me, and it is
there are these little scrolls everywhere that you can go collect that give you information about what's going on in the game for people who were there before you or stuff like that, you know. Just a heads up on like enemies or places that you can go for loot. Like this right here is a challenge. Basically what you would do with that is after you get to a certain point, you can come back and activate the challenge, and when you activate the challenge, you go into another world and you have to fight a bunch of enemies to gain loot and everything. Some challenges are harder than others, some are like really simple and easy to do. There's different weapons, like there's great swords, axes, hammers. Each one has a different execution, which I've been actually doing while running around here. Was with this sword, my execute is I stand behind someone and basically perform a backstab to where my dude sticks his sword in front of them and cuts their stomach open and then slices their head. So like this guy here, you know, I could just beat him down. He's a pretty low level enemy. That dude upstairs with the bigger axe, however, he was not a low level enemy. He was a tougher enemy that I had to take out, because when you get into higher levels, they start getting better damage and everything going on for their weapons. Like later on, not too far, it's actually after the second boss, there is a enemy that uses a great sword and great shield to basically nullify all of your damage and then hit you for 99 damage with one move that almost instantly kills you. So you actually like dodging, blocking, parrying, stuff like that is really effective in this game for not dying, you know, right off the bat every time. You can stun enemies, but stunning them is not as easy as it looks. Like, I blocked there with my basic shield on these guys, and it actually caused him to like stagger backwards, giving me free hits, but that doesn't always work because they can appear like they got staggered, but in reality they didn't, and they're going to smack you really hard with a counter attack. But as you can see, there's random chests and stuff in locations that you can go get. And actually, I didn't know this one was here before. I literally just stumbled upon this, so again, more like a Dark Souls game than I realized the first time. The enemies in this, they are they're kind of weird, honestly. Like, they have special movesets just like your character does when you're playing. Like later on, I'll fight an assassin character, and they like to block a lot more than these guys that I'm fighting now. But there's also a couple enemies later on that also just stand there and tank your hits while you're, you know, trying to take them out and whatnot. But they're unique in how they actually do it, because some of them use two-handed weapons to just stand there and try to kill you as fast as possible. Other ones will stand there and use a great shield or use spells against you to where, you know, you have to actually find a way to beat them. This is actually the first boss encounter that you come into. And when you respawn, you'll respawn back in that area that I was just in, right there in the main entrance. And a fog door will actually appear there for the first time, saying that it's a boss fight. But right after this, you get your first checkpoint, so you don't have to worry about spawning in the main entrance anymore if you die. The other character that you saw in the lobby was my other character who I started beforehand, and I had already beat this dude on him, and he actually got this dude's weapon first try, but I don't know if I can get it on this one right away, because I don't know if it's a guaranteed drop or you know, what his drop chance actually is. I'm pretty sure that you can get it every time you beat this dude, but oh shit. This boss fight actually is an interesting one because he has a couple stages that he goes through while you're fighting him. The first stage is this one, sword and shield, and then he has his second stage, which I think is where he puts his shield down, and then he just fights with his sword. Later on, towards the last couple of phases, he'll start doing more moves like that, to where he uses just like magical fire strikes and stuff like that on the ground to try and hit you as much as possible. I know if I get his health low enough, he'll break his armor off, and he'll come at me without armor or a shield on, so right here he's about to, yep, he just shattered his chest piece to give him more mobility. It didn't actually damage me any because of the fact that it just knocked me down. It's not really meant as a damaging move. stamina management is a big thing in this game that I've found. Like, if you don't manage your stamina and you're guarding like I am now, you can actually get your shield knocked away like that. However, when he knocked me away, he threw me on the ground, so I didn't get hit afterwards. But you have a stagger window for when he actually smacks you, that if hit in that window, they basically get a critical hit on you that does extra damage to you. Now, if you notice, when I swing, I can cancel it into an immediate guard, basically, to prevent him from hitting me. And that's one of the key factors that I've found out in this game, is if you know you're not going to be able to complete the move, you can actually guard against him hitting you, so you don't have to worry about taking that damage, because you done activated guard and blocked his move. Right here, you know, I'm just dancing with him, trying to get that damage off. That way I can get him low enough. This next phase should be where he drops his shield. I think he drops his shield in the next phase. This boss is actually not hard, but it's one that, you know, you only do once. Ow. And then you kind of spend the rest of the time just fighting low-level enemies and whatnot that aren't as, you know, powerful as this dude is right now. Because, like, the next area is assassins and archers until you make it to the boss fight. And he's the first actual tanky character that you'll fight. And he legit is a tanky character, because he uses spells that allow him to basically put great shields up around him and everything like that, to just stand there and legit hide and protect himself until you take out all of his minions that he summons in, which isn't a hard fight. It's just a really long one, because it's like this one here. You have to lower his health enough to get him to go through the phases, and then once you do, you finally get him low enough that he starts pretty much fighting you like a boss. So it's an interesting game from what I've seen of it. The first glimpse of, you know, actually becoming more of a magic character is right there. You actually get to unlock some new stuff. Like right here is the character development, like checkpoint and everything. So if I hit triangle, it allows me to store my XP and basically lower my level. If I save it, I can get more equipment later on for later. Of course, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and raise my level as high as possible to get to level 15, because level 15 is what is required to use the sword that I'm currently wielding from this boss. Right now, I don't have enough to wield it properly, so it's kind of an issue. Of course, with whatever's left over, I can hit triangle and activate my checkpoint for health, like I get more health potions and everything like that. This is the first sword that you get that's actually an elemental weapon. It's actually not a bad sword. I've used it already a couple times with my other character. It's a really nice weapon. Of course, here if you walk slowly towards the enemy, you can backstab them. I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna block his attack to be able to hit him with a heavy. You know, back away because I just used up all my stamina, and then I'm gonna hit with a light to finish him off. Of course, here's another scroll. There's some jumping puzzles in this room too, actually, that are pretty interesting. Because to jump in this game, you have to hold X and then tap X. Like right here, there should be a jumping puzzle right at the bottom of this statue that's pretty cool. I don't know if I can actually get through this door or not. I don't think I can. Oh god, there's Big Boy. Okay. So my recovery time with this sword's actually kind of slacking here, because the fact that it's a substantially bigger sword. Right here's actually the jumping puzzle that I was talking about earlier. To get that item right there, I need to jump from here over the railing to claim my item. So at any point I can actually switch back to my other sword by hitting the middle pad on my controller. Allows me to access my inventory. To swap between weapons. Eventually, you know, I get different weapons instead of just a long sword and my steel sword right here. I'll get like axes, maces, stuff like that, depending on how high my luck is. There I just got the monk staff, which I really didn't mess with on my other character, because it's not really a strength weapon like my character is going to mostly be designed as. I don't actually know if there's like hidden like illusionary walls or whatever in this game. I haven't spent that much time trying to find any yet, but I might try and find some later on. But if you increase your luck in this game, it raises your item discovery. There I just got the cleric set, which is one of the other classes I could have spawned in as. It's actually the mage class. They're known as clerics in this game. The green one that I could have chosen was the rogue. He's a low-key kind of character. He can make mimics, basically trying to confuse enemies. He can go invisible and stuff like that when you get his abilities leveled up more. I don't really mess with that because I'm more of the tank and support character. And then here we have another one that I can do. Come over here and use it to get items back. I can spend another point there to be able to get my strength up high enough to use my great sword properly with my 15 strength requirement. With my current character, he's actually a heavier character because of the fact that he's wearing heavy armor essentially in this game. But the heavier your armor in this actually allows you to have more poise for taking on higher tier enemies and tankier enemies. Like this guy over here, you know, I'm gonna pull my shield out to fight because he's using a battle axe essentially to try and kill me. But you know, as you can see, my great sword allowed me to take him out effectively with a backstab, considering their enemies, their enemy AI allows you to do that a lot when they're attacking. Like this guy here is the assassin that I said earlier. He is very quick. He tries to get behind you every time, you know, right off the bat, because that's his moveset. Basically, he's going to try and get behind you and do as much damage as possible. Sometimes they'll be hiding with other enemies, like that big guy down there. They can be roaming around with him. They can be setting up using crossbows and stuff like that to basically try and kill you. This guy here, I've, you know, shown 3 of him now, but this one, you know, he's up here by himself, basically trying to be a mini boss, but he, you know, he's not all that special. He's actually pretty easy to defeat if you just run around him like I did there. Then you got this creepy guy. This dude is weird. Basically, this dude got bit by a spider, so he kind of locked himself in here to try and not, I guess, kill people. Spider. But so he kind of locked himself in here to try and not, I guess, kill people. He actually, when he's sitting here telling you this, he actually got locked up. Because he got locked in here by those guys. The assassin dude that I killed up there next to the lever was essentially keeping him in here as a prisoner, which is pretty smart on their part, but at the same time, they could have easily killed him, but you know, there I gave him a healing potion so he could heal up, and this is a first look at the Butcher Axe, which is actually one of the cooler weapons that I've seen in the game so far. It's a really cool weapon. Here's the spiders, and I really don't like these things. Like, these things make me very uncomfortable. Interesting. I don't remember finding that on my last run through this area. Of course, most objects are destructible. You can break them. They may have items in them or whatever, but I'm not too worried about finding items in those. Because I'm mainly looking for hidden items, you know, stuff that they're trying to hide from the player, because hidden rooms have the best loot from what I've seen. There's a couple enemies in here that you can farm though, that allow you to get runes and stuff like that, which I have not been able to use so far. So I'm not exactly sure what runes do in this game. Of course, here's the other door that I just, you know, didn't open earlier, because there's a lot of a lot of connecting paths that you can take in this game that lead back to the same place. Basically shortcuts for you to access the same area, make things easier to go from place to place. And then you got guys like this that are faking being dead. This guy over here is another assassin trying to kill me with his crossbow. Later on, there will be multiple paths to take other than like right now, to where they're just looping back around to the same location. But there's still expansive areas to go in. Like this room here is basically just a trap room, because when you walk in you see that item over there, you know, you go to grab it, whatever, you get stabbed in the back. There's this chest here, which right now I can't open it. So I'm gonna walk over here and just kind of leave that alone for now. I can, or at least I should be able to come back later and open that. I think I need to get my next item, like my next weapon, before I can open that, because there is a special weapon in the game that's basically like a cannon, essentially, like the a projectile and blaster and everything I said earlier. So later on I'm gonna find that, and I should be able to open that that chest up down there with it. I should. I'm not actually sure. I don't remember how I opened that last time. There's my first item drop. There's a small sealed rune. And like I said, I haven't actually been able to use the runes yet, so I'm not 100% sure on what they do. I'm guessing specific runes give boost to weapons and armor, and stuff like that. But I haven't played enough of this game to be able to activate them or figure out exactly what each one does. Somewhere around here there's a lever.
Why you want the door closed? Let some cold air in there.
So as you can see there, I was actually killed, and I can go get the souls back, or experience back that I just lost by dying. I didn't actually know that boss was in there, to be honest. Like, that enemy was in there. That was the first time I've ever encountered that fight. So that was actually a surprise to me. And I can't lock onto this dude. There we go. Now, I didn't actually turn the camera like this. It just automatically did that for me to basically, like, get that random execute off. Of course, now I can go back over here, and I can fight this dude again. I can go back over and fight the assassin if I wanted to. It's basically just my, preference of if I want to spend the time killing these guys for a little bit more XP before I go back over there and fight the spider. But I'm not actually going to go after the assassin. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep pushing through. As you can see, this dude's gone now, even though I didn't open this gate. He moved on to another area later on. I will actually find him later, but it's in a different encounter. He will, basically be another cutscene. That one, however, I don't activate. It's just activated automatically. And I can actually block with this arm that I have right here, this blue arm, which is kind of surprising, honestly. It's not like my shield, though. It doesn't have the kind of like full guard that I'm like, because it basically protects me from pretty much all outside damage that I would take. Like this dude shooting arrows at me up there, I could block pretty much all of his damage with my shield. Of course, I want him first because he's shooting arrows at me. Then I'm gonna worry about the other dude over there. Now that he's down, I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna take this guy out. Having more experience on your character is actually not the best idea. It makes enemies harder, but it also allows you to get better loot when you kill them. Like, with all of my experience being stacked up on my character at a time, I run a higher risk of losing it all. Peoples. Alright. Hey, got the chest piece finally, and a hammer. That's where I got that from earlier. And now a new shortcut is opened. And where'd that big boy come from? Oh, never mind, I just bypassed him. A little more XP. Above my health bar in the bottom left corner of the screen, the 92 that's ticking down currently is actually how long I have to get back to my XP before it disappears. So you have a time limit to basically come back, get your experience and everything to be able to claim it. And if you don't, like right there's my experience, there's the spider. If I don't come back and claim my experience, then I lose it all. Which I don't actually recommend losing your experience, honestly. Like, it's not a good thing. That thing is attacking through my shield, so I'm about to die again if I can't get back up these stairs. So that's not working. Let me just kind of pop him with that. Now I can't shoot as much as I would like, honestly, because I have to wait for my mana to recharge. Once my mana is recharged, I can fire another shot. That was the wrong target. He's hatching another baby over there, so I'm not too worried about him. I'm just trying not to get hit by him because he hurts. I am poisoned. That is not good. Die. Ow. Holy shit, I didn't know he could come out here. This is unfortunate. I have no idea if I can drive him off the map, but with him out there, I'm gonna come in here and open this. And I'm gonna take a hit from the back. Or not. Ow, never mind. Woo. So the little babies also give experience. It's not, you know, great experience. I also don't have any more healing items. Square is to heal, actually, in this game, which is one of the weirder things that I've experienced in this game, honestly. Like, it's kind of weird that I heal off of that. This is the other move, if I can actually get it off without being smacked by the spider, wherever the fuck it went. There we go. Just a little bit of cheese there. So I'm gonna go back in here. I'm gonna go down this staircase. I'm not gonna go down the other way yet because I want to know what's over here. Couple free hits off on that guy while he's standing up. Of course, I don't know why he just stood up again. Oh, okay, that is not what I wanted to do. I want to go back down here. Good thing that door was locked. I'm gonna run back over here and go down the other path now, actually, because that one's blocked off. There shouldn't be any more loot in this room. The spider, if it had any loot, it just got knocked off. I can drop down from above up there. I have not been this way, so this is new for me, and this is unfortunate. Because I have to kill it through quickly. I just saw another enemy right there on the ground. And that door's locked too. So there's a big boy right there. But I can't get to him, so I'm gonna go back up and see if I can't drop down and get that item. I don't actually know where the key is for the doors that are locked. If I can, I will actually grab them and come back later to claim those items. Right here is the drop for that loot, but I don't want to fall off the edge. Alright. What is this? Oh. How about that? There we go. I'm actually gonna go this way because the other way said leave, which will take me to a new area, and I don't know what is over there. Alright. Oh, no thank you. I really hope there's nothing else out here that's about to attack me. Oh, he has red eyes. This is a big boy. I ain't gonna help him though. So there will be issues like this, like trapped chests and stuff that are going to basically try and kill you instantly. I just got a new axe called Fate. The hammer, the hammer pain that I got earlier. Of course, I got my monk staff. This is actually really cool. These are dual swords. These are dual fist weapons. So if I equip them and I was to two-hand them, I'm going to do a special moveset with them to where I start attacking with both weapons at the same time, doing spin moves, punch moves, everything like that. These, however, these are unique because if I just swing with R1, he just uses his right sword. If I swing my left sword, he just starts slashing with that one, and then he'll swap up a little bit. But the real one is doing two-handed combos like this one, because if there's an enemy and you're doing combos, you can actually chain them together to do special moves. Like that spin right there, it was a couple R1s and then into an R2. Same thing with your L2, you start using both weapons or whatever, you know, swinging. Dual swords are pretty cool in this game, dual fists as well. Now, I have not used this before, and I have not used the Fate axe before. I was using the pain weapon on my other character a little bit, you know, messing around with that. But, you know, it's all up to your preference on how you want to play. Since I am over encumbered, I do not have the ability to run. I would need to actually either change armor or drop something. Yes.
Go to the store.
Yeah, give me a second. This was a little preview of the game. I was actually just asked if I want to go to the store, so I will, you know, I'll be back later, probably streaming tonight again, or possibly tomorrow. Maybe over the weekend, I'm not sure. I might actually try and record a video on my PC of some games on there. But I'm still finicking with that, since, you know, I'm not 100% good with not streaming but recording. And yeah, talk to y'all later.